Okay, everyone, welcome back to In the Pit with Jeff. My last video, I signed out in the shop, so it just shows you my Alzheimer's that I believe is kicking in. It's not a laughing matter. My mom ended up with it, so Anyways, moving on. What I've been up to down here, I've been back on my dad's Mustang. Got the reinforcing strips in for the wheel wells on the top, just plywood. And then I just epoxied a piece of 1/8 plywood onto the wing for the servo that's going to actuate the bell cranks that move the big inner doors in and out. Took a piece of aluminum, cut it up, made a little servo tray. It's probably overkill. What I gotta still do on here is just epoxy on a quarter inch ply triangles, just like I did on the aileron servo brackets. I could have just glued probably quarter ply right onto here and that, but like I said, I like to have things serviceable, so we can do that. I just dug out this mini servo out of my stores, so basically, that would go. It's kind of hard, sorry about that. I gotta change hands. My big mitts don't work that good anymore. So basically, if that servo was in there and mounted there, and then the arm on there, gets screwed onto there, and then the servo will work that arm linkage there, which works the bell cranks underneath. I don't remember the person's name I was watching, but I was flipping through videos, and he was working on a quarter scale Mustang. I'm not sure if it's a top flight Mustang. There's two guys working on two separate videos on guys working on quarter scale Mustangs, and one guy was putting in his gun camera. And I was like, shit, I've never done that on my Mustang. So when I got that little there, when I got my 3D printer, and the first things I started printing was drawn up in Fusion. Teaching myself Fusion was the little bullet ejection chutes and that, and I had screwed up on my calculations and ended up printing a box that's that size. I had two of those, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that. I'll use that for my gun camera. I took a piece of brass tubing. I also could have just used a square piece of brass, and I just went to little power sander disc there and just sharpen the edges. Went to my 3 views, did some measurements, and rappy tappy tap that into there. Took the X-Acto, cleared out the mess. Quick thing of cyano, boom, in goes my little gun thing. Some of them had round. I'll go for a walk over here. On the 3 view that I've been using, the move you in closer, gun camera was round, but I think it depends on what version of the gun camera they had, because I'll go over to this picture of, I think this is Kermit Weeks's. Sorry about the glare. Let's move this. Gun camera is kind of like a rectangular square, so we just hammered that in there. So that took care of that, because, but on Brian Taylor, which is pretty good on everything, doesn't have it showing on there. So anyways, we did that. Oh, sorry, I'll come back here again. I also just took, I like the polyacrylic. I just brushed some polyacrylic over the cover in here, the center section, and along the edges again, and my wood net, so I'll spray it with some paint. On mine, I got my guns thrown in, and over here got my guns placed in. I guess the same thing. You could take your three, because I used an antenna, you could just take 3 sizes of your brass tube and slide them inside each other, and then cut them all out in one shot, and do like, so you'd have like three sections inside one, and that would be one gun. But anyways, so I put my reinforcing strips on my wing the other day, put a plywood plate on top, and then put a piece of hardwood there and banged out. Same thing, just banged out a quick servo tray for that. We can mount that on, that'll get screwed onto there, screwed in there, go into the hardwood block, and then I just gotta make sure that the screws in here are short, that don't stick through the wheel. They'll be, see if I can get my hand up here, because they'll be sticking through the wheel well. I just got trim those off. On my Mustang, I took litho plate. I don't know if you can see in there. I took litho plate and closed off the wheel well openings, and then just made some little rivet heads from the inside. That opening right in there that's where the landing lights gotta fold in and out of. So I gotta deal with that. But we're getting there. Again, quick update what's been going on. My dad's, I'll do the same thing. I'll put in some balsa sheets in here, and then do some litho plate with a little bit of detail, and just to build, strengthen up, because every time you grab this thing, if you grab it by the edges here, you're always poking your fingers through the wheel wells. I'd reinforced his with some plywood, but on mine, pull this stuff out, pull the clasps out. On mine, I think I fiberglassed it inside, and then I'm gonna put a former back in here. I believe the full size one has a former back in there for the wheel well, and then maybe throw in a few little details, but nothing too crazy. It's cold. It's the 18th, Wednesday, March 18th here. It's -8 right now, but the sun did poke out for a bit. But that's pretty well where we've gotten to on the Mustangs. So on that note, I will say talk to you guys later, and be safe out there. All right, have a good day. From In the Pit with Jeff. Bye for now.